Hey friends, welcome to week 17 of the NFL season. It is going to be a pretty exciting season, or a pretty exciting week, obviously. There's a ton of playoff stuff on the line. Part of what happens with that is it makes the lines kind of shitty to bet. I don't have a ton. I have 3.5 plays. One is if you can get this number play, but I have 3 plays otherwise. First of all, I want to say a big shout out to my boy Fitz. I'm wearing my 14 shirt today. I got my Fitz beard on today. And super sad after what you did for the Dolphins last week that you came down with COVID. Likely means if the Dolphins win today or if they get into the playoffs, you won't be available next week either. So it really is to a time for those of us who are cheering for the kid. I love them both. I love Tua. I think that he does a bunch of things right. I think that he needs a play caller who understands that he works better under tempo, and maybe needs a couple guys who can catch. I mean, if Jakeem Grant doesn't drop 2 bombs that were dropped in his hands, people aren't saying that Tua can't throw the ball deep because he's going to have 2 70-yard touchdowns. That said, there's a ton of room for improvement. He holds the ball way too long. He needs to understand that there's a huge difference between NCAA Open and NFL Open, and has to learn to lead receivers and things like that. But that comes with experience, and he seems like he's got the right attitude. But I want to talk about Fitz because I love Fitz, and I think he's the perfect leader for Tua, perfect leader for the team, perfect guy for somebody like Tua to learn from. So Fitz, we're going to miss you. You're not ever going to watch this, obviously, but I want you to know through the power of media that we are going to miss you and we love you. And we know that you'll be there in Seoul with the Dolphins today, leading them to a huge victory, beating the Bills by, probably 40 or 50, I would say. So now to the plays this week. Year to date, we are down 1.47 units. We don't have a lot of time to get that back in the black. I have bragged that for 8 consecutive years I've been in the black, and so I really need to make that happen. So I've got 3.5 plays this week. The first one I like is the Rams money line, getting plus 120. I know John Wolford is starting, and everyone thinks that means that the Cards are going to destroy them. The Cards have not been a good team the second half. The offensive line hasn't been spectacular. Kyler hasn't been spectacular. And truthfully, I don't think Jared Goff is that good, so I don't necessarily see John Wolford as a monster downgrade. I think that the Rams defense, I almost called them the St. Louis Rams, still almost calling them the St. Louis Rams. I think the Rams defense is really good, and I think that they're good and have gotten better throughout the season and have become more consistent throughout the season. And I think a big reason they've lost some games is the inconsistency of Jared Goff. So if you have a guy who isn't going to make dumb decisions, hopefully, unless he comes in and he's Nate Peterman, but if you have a guy who is going to be more of a game manager than Goff is and less of a poor decision maker, I don't know if it's really a downgrade, to be honest with you. I think the Rams are the better team between the two. Kyler obviously is a better quarterback than John Wolford. That's not a question. But the Cards haven't been playing super well the second half of the season. They started hot and everyone's like, oh, they might compete for the division. And then they're like, no, we're going to poop our pants. And as a guy who has Kyler in fantasy, I'll tell you that hurt a lot. But they're still a good team. But I think the Rams are the better team. They have big-time playmakers on defense. They have the ability to, it looks like Cam Akers, last thing I heard, Cam Akers was going to go. And I just genuinely believe that he is the best back in this game by a huge margin. I think Cam Akers is special. Everybody knows I've been saying that since day one this year. I said, give the kid a chance, let him go. And if he's able to go at even 70-80%, I think he's going to be in really good shape. I'm pretty excited about that. I'd love to watch him, so I'm excited about that. I think the Rams are going to win. I'm playing it for 2 units. It's at plus 120 right now. So I got Rams Rams 2 units on the money line. My second play is the Bills. I have the Bills, who are now getting 1 point. If you looked at this line when it opened, I'm not even sure when it was opened, but I saw it at Bills +4 or Bills -4, and I thought about taking that because this is the kind of game that this game is less about football and more about my soul. So I have been building up all year to be excited that the Dolphins are, all they got to do is win and make the playoffs. So they're probably going to lose this game. As far as football goes, so much of this game hinges on how much Barkley plays, how much Allen plays. There's people like Jeff Darlington who are reporting that they believe that the Bills are keeping everything close to the vest because they really want that number 2 seed. It'll get them a second home date. Provided they win in week one. Jeffrey Michael is fond of letting everybody know that the Bills will be one and done. And let's hope so, because we hate the Bills. So a lot of people believe that the Bills want to win this game. And then there's a ton of people that are saying, why wouldn't they announce who their starters are if they're actually going to be playing the whole game? They're playing mind games, to make the Dolphins get worried and prep for the starters. And then, Josh Allen might play a series. So who really knows? The truth is this: if Gailey doesn't adjust the playbook to allow Tua to do the things that matter and that work for him, the Dolphins are going to struggle to win this game against either quarterback because they're going to struggle to score points. The Bills' defense is good. It's been playing much better. I know at the beginning of the year they had some struggles. I mean, when Edmonds and Milano were out, what are you going to do? Gesicki just fed in that game, but they're healthier. They're stronger. They're playing better. I wonder how well a quarterback who is, admittedly, I love Tua, but he's struggling, how well he's going to do against that if Gailey refuses to run tempo, which works every game. Go back and watch every game. Every time they run a tempo series, Tua looks awesome. But Gailey seems to not understand this. So, I got Bills +1 for a unit. Maybe hold on, because all the sharps seem to be on Miami. So maybe hold on, you'll get more than +1. I don't know. My third play is Dallas -1.5. They're playing the Giants. This is a game to see who will temporarily be first in the NFC East. It's in New York, so people think that gives the Giants the edge. I just really like the way Dallas has played. I think everybody says you got to have a team going at the right time. Dallas seems to be playing better. Zeke has been less garbage. I still think Tony Pollard's the better back of the two, and most of the smart people who are Cowboys fans who watch the team more than I do have said the same thing. But they're still going to feed Zeke because he's still efficient, or he's more efficient than he was earlier in the year anyways. But the big thing for me is Dalton seems comfortable in that offense now, and that really matters. He has a bunch of offensive weapons. He is able to, he's able to work with what he has, and that's who he's always been. The Giants, I just don't get them. Sometimes when I feel like they're gonna have a good game, they poo their pants. Who knows? Today they could play well. I think they're a great story. No Saquon. They did much better than I thought they were going to do this year. But at the end of the day, I believe more in. I believe a lot more in Andy Dalton than I do Andy Dalton with the more experience that he has than I do in the Giants. The Dallas defense still isn't great. The Giants secondary isn't great. The Giants front seven's pretty solid though. So I think that, it is going to rely more on Andy Dalton. I think 1.5 points isn't a ton to give up. So I am playing Dallas for 2 units. The last play that I'm going to say, if you can get, is the Washington football team -3. I believe it's currently at 3.5, where most of the rooms where I'm watching is at 4 in one of them too. I got him at 1.5, and I pounded it because I don't think there's a chance in hell they don't win that game. I don't even know if they've confirmed who's the starting quarterback at this point. I probably should have looked at that before I made this video, but the truth for me is that it doesn't matter. They have something to play for. Their defense is amazing, and I think is going to just eat that Eagles defense. And also, if you look at the Eagles offensive line, and if you look at that Eagles injury report, like they're in trouble. I mean, you saw it last week as soon as Fletcher Cox went out, like they became a different team. That he is like just the heart and soul of that team, of that defense. So I think Washington's going to be able to move the ball, whoever's playing. I think that they're going to win the game probably pretty handily. So I just don't advocate taking the worst number. I usually don't advocate taking anything but the best number, but sometimes you just got to say F it and go. So if you can get Washington -3, I would definitely grab a hold of that. I also would see, I see that there's a Washington -2.5 first half, and I would play that for 1 unit. So there you go. There's your fourth play. And if you can get Washington -3, there's the fifth play. Guys, thanks for watching this year. Obviously, I will be back with some playoff stuff. There'll just be less content. Over the off season, I'm going to try to add some non-gambling content, just to talk about football. And I also have been asked by a few people to give a better explanation of some of the terminology that gets used and things like that. So I'm going to do a video of, sports betting, or, handicapping for dummies, by a dummy. I think that's pretty fun. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. As always, be safe. Don't gamble more than you can afford to lose. Don't ever follow Kenny Diamonds, because then you're gambling money you can't afford to lose, because you're going to lose it. Otherwise, guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you later.